things. Okay, here it is. The 7 essential things for a strong design, for good design. Number 1, you need to have a strong silhouette. Don't forget this. I keep forgetting it, and I always get bashed for it. Where's the silhouette? It's the number 1 thing. I don't think I can forget silhouette anymore because it's been like bashed against me like so many times. It's not even funny. Number 3, the 3-second rule. What the 3-second rule essentially means is when you look at the character, you immediately need to be able, there we go, 6 essential things, there we go, that's better, right? You immediately need to be able to tell who is this character, what are they all about, in like 3 seconds. You need to be able to know what it is. And if you can't tell what it is in 3 seconds, then that means there's like something wrong and it needs to be addressed somehow. Number 3, personality. Now, the personality, what the personality is all about is the personality is referencing the character's design. Does it like convey the kind of personality that you want it to convey? Now when I say personality, I don't mean like the character's personality, but what I mean is how they look. Their look, the personality of their look. What kind of a look do they have? What kind of personality do they look like they have? What is their look? Does this character build look like friendly, or do they look malicious, or do they look powerful, or do they look weak? What kind of a how does their build look? Because you need the character's build to reinforce who the character is and what they're all about, and it attributes to like solid character design. Now, functionality. Does the character work? Does it make sense? Like when you build these things, like the thing has to work. Like for example, like let's say you're like making an airplane, right? Or some kind of a vehicle, but there's no door or there's no window. So how do you get inside the vehicle? Or maybe the thing's got no wheels, or maybe it's got no engine. How the hell is it supposed to drive? You need these things in order for the thing to work. Like, do these things work with the character? Does it work for the character? Does the character's build work? If they've got wings, how does he use his wings? How does he put on clothes? Is there like a giant opening on the clothes? Is there like a zipper? How does he put the clothes on and off? Just things like that need to be taken into consideration. Now, believability. Does it work? I guess it's kind of like related to functionality. Is it like plausible? Does it look like it can work? And then finally, there's like the cool factor. Does it look cool? Because you can have like all this stuff, right? And it doesn't look cool. It's gotta look cool. It's kind of like important. You're trying to like design things that people are going to like want to look at, want to take in, or gonna accept. Be like, hey, this is great. You know, I knew this dude, right? And he was like designing like this cop, right? And he looked like a really dirty cop. I took one look at this dude's like cop character, and I said to myself, that character looks like a cop, and he looks like a dirty cop. And they were like, oh, did somebody tell you about my character? I'm like, you could just tell. Like he had a solid design. It was great. It was fantastic. It looked like a character from The Shield or something. It It was the dirtiest cop character you could ever, like, it was just spectacular. He looked like someone you wouldn't want to mess with. Okay, over here, I'm gonna like pull out my template that I put together from playing with different proportions and different shapes and stuff like that. I'm gonna like use this template to apply clothes and whatnot. I'm gonna copy this guy a bunch of times, save some time. Don't have to like redraw everything. That's the thing I like about like these like working digitally. Like some things in digital like make things a lot faster and easier to do than it is in with like traditional stuff. But at the same time, I guess it can like make you a lot lazier, right? Because no matter what you do in digital, nothing is permanent. You can like undo it and redo it as if it never was to begin with. Nothing is permanent. So you become like less cautious and stuff. So what I'm doing right now is I'm coming up with like different like costume variations. I researched like trench coats. So I've got like a folder somewhere filled with different trench coats. I'm playing around with like different trench coat designs or different like elements from all the trench coats I've seen that I think look good and look cool. I'm gonna like try them out on my character, and there's supposed to be like a dark angel, but I didn't like put wings on the character. I've got like wing studies like sitting around somewhere, but yeah, I'm not gonna like go over that for this tutorial though. I think this character like turned out to be like slightly more complicated than I initially intended it to be. But you know, whichever. I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna pull out some. There's another like costume design, template design, trench coat design. This one's a little bit more clothes. I kind of like that thing that's happening on the shoulders over there. I figure I'd play around with the well, what if like some parts of it were a bit shorter? Nah, I didn't really like that. Well, if I did something like this with this character, what's happening with this character is I've essentially made their trench coat thing a lot longer. Makes the character look like he's like part of some kind of a cult or something. Whenever I think about like something like a cult, I always think like people with hoods and like weird trench coat type things, like something like that. Cults aren't always like that though. Figure I'd play around with like a Doctor Strange idea, because Doctor Strange has like or like Spawn, whichever. He's got like these things here around his head, and I don't even know what you call these things, but they look pretty cool. Some more trench coat ideas. This trench coat kind of like reminds me of that dude from Trigun, the like Trigun dude style. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like do like 10 of these things. Usually I do about like 6 or 7, and then I pick out from there, usually. But you can do more if you want. You probably should do more. More might be better. But you also have to like take into consideration how much time do you have to like work on these things, because like one of my friends say like you can like work on these things like for all of eternity. You're never done. It's never finished. You just run out of time. So somewhere along the line, you gotta like just end it and just move on and accept whatever it is that you have and move on. Because if you don't, if you like just stay with the same project and keep like revising it or like playing with more ideas, in what ends up happening is nothing gets done, you don't get anywhere, and you just end up like eating a bucket loads of time, and it's just not good. You gotta make some kind of progress, otherwise you might as well not be doing anything. It'll be a waste of time and energy. I don't like the way this guy's head is positioned on this character. It's kind of weird. The trench coat idea is kind of interesting. It's a little bit open.